Hello everyone, welcome to episode 122 of the Spare Change Challenge. So, it's been a few days since I streamed, mainly because of the issues with Ignition Poker being pretty much unplayable for the last couple of weeks, especially at night, but anytime during the day you can just lag up, lose money. So what I've decided to do, rather than sitting around feeling sorry for myself, I've decided to learn PLO. At least make an attempt to learn PLO. So I have a couple $100 on the Winning Poker Network, Black Chip Poker. So I thought we'd do a little mini challenge within a challenge and try to move up in stakes and yeah, try and learn the game of PLO. I'm still fighting a little bit of a cold, so bear with me if I sound a little bit scratchy or have to cough during the stream. I apologize for that. So what I've done is basically just come up with a real aggressive strategy for moving up and down. We're going to just need 10 buy-ins to move up. And of course we'll move down, we'll take a 2 buy-in shot at the next level and move right back down if we don't run good. And then try again and just keep plugging away and try to move up in stakes, grow the bankroll that way. And at the same time, I think it's kind of a low-risk way of just learning the game of PLO. I do have Table Tamer as my software, so as you can see, it's not showing money on the tables, it's showing big blinds, which is a nice feature. So as you move up and down in stakes, you're still playing just big blinds, you're not worried about the money. So keep that in mind. This is 10 PLO, so I have $10 on each of these tables. And, you know, I'm usually a short stack player, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense at PLO to play a short stack. I've toyed around with the idea, and I really think that it's all about post-flop, and pushing pre-flop edges just doesn't, at least at this point, doesn't seem to be the way to go. So I think you're better off staying on a table, playing deep stacked, pushing your post-flop edges, nut over nutting people, that type of thing. That's kind of what the game of PLO is all about. And of course, it's a different game, but some of the same ideas and concepts do hold true in PLO. So I'm going to kind of just do a standard ABC PLO strategy through the lens of what I already know about poker. And I think some of it may be a little different than what some people do in PLO. And it's probably certainly not that great because I am kind of a fish and beginner at PLO. So if you're watching this to kind of see just awesome strategy for PLO, you've probably come to the wrong place. But if you want to watch a player learn a new game for him, not a new game, and you want to see if I can move up in levels and grow my bankroll, now I may abandon this at any time, but I thought it would be fun to do something new. And if we're having fun and enjoying this, we'll keep doing it. And if it becomes tedious or I'm just dumping a whole bunch of money, I'm never going to play below 10 PLOs. So if we drop our bankroll down to nothing, I'll just reload some money and we'll try again, as long as we need to. This is a pretty attractive looking hand. I'm just not sure. It's got a lot of proximity issues versus under the gun and cutoff ranges, and I don't have one of the nut suits here, so I think this is a tight fold here, especially in a higher SPR situation. So the game of PLO is kind of about playing in position and applying pressure in the right spots. So that's what we're going to try and do, is play a lot of hands in position, try to avoid playing out of position. If we are playing out of position, we're going to try and have a lower SPR to clarify decisions on post-flop. So we flop top set. It's not the current nuts. It is what they call a lockdown board, so it's pretty hard for somebody to continue without a set of queens or tens here, or at least ace queen, ace 10, queen 10. It's kind of hard for them to have that because I have blockers to most of that. So I think this is a good spot just to check back and keep it down to 2 streets. Obviously, if we make a boat at any point, we're going to try and pile more money in. And this guy is short. So let's don't click that because I think that'll crash us. But I think on the turn we can go ahead and start betting. And if we improve on the river, even if we don't improve on this river, I think he's going to show a lot of aggression if he had, it's a little bit of a cooler for him. But checking back gave him a turn to catch up a little bit, so that kind of worked out for us. But you never want to, you don't have to have the nuts to win pots, but you have to be aware of the nuts. And I think if we just pile in on the flop there, we're going to run into King Jack quite often. And we don't really want to, not that he was deep, but if he had had, say, 100 big blinds, we would not want to put 100 big blinds necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying it's minus EV, but I think it's just you're going to make just as much money by checking that flop back a lot, I think. So when you flat in the blinds, you really need to have two things going for you. And although I have queens here, which can make a set, it's kind of like hold'em. And if I do make sets, sometimes I'll be set over set. There's lots of people playing pocket kings and aces out there. This guy is kind of a station. So I think we try to check this back, try to realize some equity on this board. I'm gonna go ahead and fold here. And I just got this set up. I'm trying OBS Studio again. So if it lags up or I have problems or issues, you're not able to see some things, just let me know. I'll try and work on that. We don't make anything on this river. We just have kind of not even a great bluff catcher here. And a lot of the hands we would have, we definitely want to pump the pot up with this hand. We're just going to fold. We're going to try and make hands and get thin value maybe against this player. So I apologize to all you no limit hold'em players that usually watch me for that. If this is really turning you off, I'm sorry. This is just something I've been wanting to do a long time. And I will play some more hold'em. Now we have top set here. Obviously we want to put more money in the pot. But it's one of those boards where this is not going to be the nuts by the river quite often. So we have to play cautiously on a lot of turns. And we have a weak open-ender here, but this just is not a very good hand. Three-way, I think we just have to check fold. Aces is now the nuts. Unless he has weak aces, it's probably not a huge part of his range. However, he could have a hand like, I don't know. I mean, I obviously deuce four got there as well. I think he's going to have a lot of flush draws in his range. It's not really the kind of, it's not like we can just pile the money if we get raised. So, I mean, it's kind of goes against a few principles out there when you say, you know, you don't want to give people free cards. But I think if he breaks off, he might bluff this river with a busted flush draw. And now I'm just going to go for value. It's hard for him to have much, so I'm going to bet pretty small. He just folds. Probably just had a flush draw. So we get 3-bet. We call, we're out of position. It's got some proximity issues, the king. This guy's 3-betting. Button versus cutoff. I mean, he's got nut wraps, which kind of dominate us here, and he's got aces in his range, basically. Probably very ace heavy. And we really don't. The fact that we have a pair of tens kind of hurts the value of our hand. So we're not getting a good enough price to go for a set of tens here. Yeah, if we had 4 live cards, it'd be much more of a call. So I think we just safely fold there. I'm going to try and refresh the balance here so you can see our next stop is 250. So that's what we're hoping to head towards. So we have aces here on the bottom left. Around I mean, I have the scene switcher, so I don't have to say bottom left, but we have aces here. This player, Pumps it up. Now you always want as much money as you can get in as possible. These are halfway decent aces. We have a suit. We have a queen. We're going to check back here. We're going to go and pump the pot up. I mean, I think theoretically you can never have too much money in pre-flop with aces. Multi-way will have to be careful, a lot more careful, but it's going to create a pretty low SPR situation if we are out of position. We're just going to check fold in this spot. And once we flop a pair and the nut flush draw, we're going nowhere ever in this hand. So we're just going to commit. So you shove any turn here pretty much. We could stab at this. And we're just going to be getting it in here. Looks like he just has a flush draw, maybe a gut shot. And he gets there. So we had quite a bit of equity in that hand. That's a little unfortunate for us. We had him, his flush draw was dominated. So we had a ton of equity in that spot. I can pull it up here real quick. Yeah, we had 74% equity on that flop, as you can see. So he basically had to make a set or a straight to win that, and he got there. That's kind of the high variance part of PLO. We take top set here again. We're running really good on this table as far as flopping. We're flopping well. We do have a flush draw. We're not really looking to make a flush here. Basically, the way I look at this is we have blockers to somebody else having a better flush. So that's why it's good to have a flush draw here. We're really just looking for a clean run out here. And we're certainly not going to stop betting on a king. If he has pocket king, it's whatever, dude. He's just got us. It's hard for me to see him just having pocket kings. His pocket kings is probably just folding on that flop most of the time unless he's got something else with it. If these players, we're going to open this hand for sure. Just done with this hand. If the player in the big blind folded a lot more often than he does, I mean, I don't think he folds the seals often enough for us just to open this, and he kind of is sticky post flop. So I think it's without any nuttiness to our hand, we just fold that. We flop top two. This player is kind of straightforward here. I think we just have to start putting money in the pot with top two. You'll see in PLO, this is definitely not like the nuts, like it would be in Hold'em. If you have top flop, top two, you could just always get the money in. That's not necessarily the case there. I mean, there's lots of combinations of hands that can be beating us still. So yeah, welcome to everybody that's just joining the stream. If you may want to catch it on YouTube later. But I'm just doing a mini PLO. Since the games are so bad on Ignition Poker and it's basically unplayable, I'm doing a PLO challenge just for the fun of it here and to kind of learn some PLO. I mean, it's a good game to learn. There's still fish at PLO. WPN is the place I'm playing, Winning Poker Network on Black Chip Poker. I would probably not be playing Hold'em on this site. It's just too reg infested. But you can see there's fish. This guy's got 62 VPIP, so he's a fish. This is a winning reg here. If we had the nut ace suit, we would open this, but this hand looks pretty, but it's not, I guess in the hijack, it's not terrible to open it. We do have a fish in the blinds, so actually I guess I will open this. It's kind of like the bottom of my range there. I don't think it would be open if there were a fish in position, just because it plays so tough to play out of position versus a sticky player. I think Matisse is a reg. I think it's a pretty straightforward player. I think basically a fit or fold type of player. We're obviously opening the aces here. We flop the nut flush draw in top pair. However, it's a paired board. We're not really giving free cards to a lot of hands. I mean, if he's got a 4, he's obviously just got a 4. He's not going to have a lot of 4 in his range, so I think we just can check this back and kind of maybe induce a call, at least one call from like an ace X hand here. We do have a queen here. We can definitely call it turn bet most of the time, so I think we can check this back. We're going to raise this turn because I think we have the best hand most of the time, and just kind of simplifies things to do that. It's a very easy fold if we get re-raised here. But I think worse can certainly call for sure. That's a really bad river. I mean, it completes a lot of ace X hands like ace jack, jack 8 got there. Of course, we have that beat because we have aces and 4s, but yeah, we're just going to check back here and try to get a showdown. And he did turn a set of 8s, which is a little unfortunate for us. We get led into on this turn. I think once again this is a decent spot to raise. This is not the way most people play this spot in PLO, I think. But I like to play this way because I just think it makes rivers so much easier and turns play so much easier. And we do have the best hand there. 6 is a very good turn river card for us. It gives us 2 pair with aces. Hard to beat that unless he has trips or something. We don't get to see their hands here on WPN. It doesn't show hands, so. We do have a nut ace here. I don't really want to pump the pot up out of position. I think we just check and play a flop. We flop the nuts with no redraws. It's not like we just want to try and get the money in here. So I think we can check this and try to play a turn, a clean turn. So we're going to look for a clean turn here to play. That's a clean turn. Well, I mean, it does bring in some backdoor possibilities. This is either a 3-bet or fold hand, I think. We're going to fold. I think we go ahead and start betting this turn now. And now we can get the money in since it would be a backdoor situation. We have the nuts. Let's make them pay a price to see the river. And they both do just fold. My strategy in PLO, just in its infancy, is just kind of a pick your spot, play in position, try not to play out of position unless the price is right. Try to nut over nut people, play hands that can make the nuts, and then just try and exploit tendencies. I built a pretty decent, what I think is a decent HUD, which can exploit some tendencies again that players have. Other than that, just kind of a small ball type strategy. Give the illusion that I'm aggressive, but really don't put a whole bunch of money in the pot without being a clear favorite, or at least having a ton of equity. Equity is kind of what it's all about. So let me know what you think about this challenge. I'm interested to get feedback. If you absolutely hate this, I apologize. But I think it'd be fun to try and grow a bankroll through PLO. I could certainly play Hold'em on this side as well, but I mean, literally this side is boiled down to being a beast chasing nit reg fest. Oops. Just trying to, I keep getting this error. If I click OK here, it's going to crash me, but if I just move it to the side here, it doesn't crash me. We do have the flush draw. This board is pretty good for my range, I think. I think we have to c-bet this. We're not really looking to make a flush here, but it's more about just trying to take it down the flop with some potential. We're kind of shutting down turns most of the time once we get flatted by this player. He folds it to a c-bets a lot. I think he's going to have a lot of hands here that are like queen 10 type hands. We have blockers against that. I think once the board pairs, we have to keep betting, and I'm probably just going to have to barrel off. And if he does have to hit a 9, we make a boat. So I think this is a good barrel off spot. Most people hate when they have wraps and such. They hate paired boards. Paired rivers. I think we just have to pile now. Just rep the boat. Wow. Okay. So he probably had pocket. I guess what do you have? Pocket kings here? I mean, that's, or quads. That's pretty much all he can have here. He's never doing this with jacks. Um, he's never doing this with pocket fours. So I think he just flop top set with kings and then just slow played the turn. That's generally what this is every time. So obviously we can't call. But I think against the majority of his range there, I think that was a good play. And you'll see that a lot in PLO where you have some blockers. I had clubs, I had blockers to a lot of the wrap, so I could bet that turn, and then I'm going to get a clean river because I have, and he'll have to fold king jack there. He can't call with that, so I'm fine with the play. I'm not really going to. So you're really not building big pots. I'm not, at least, unless you have a nut type hand or a hand with a ton of equity in the correct SPR, or unless you have like blockers and you're repping a big hand and they simply can't call three barrels if they brick off, which they're going to do most of the time. Where the river like an ace or a club, I probably would just have to. I don't think at this level I'm going to try and get somebody off a flush. For some reason this table isn't working. Try and get that fixed. It's my automatic scene switcher here, which has been giving me issues. Let's see if we can get that fixed though. That looks like it fixed it. So most of the time in this spot, people are going to raise top set. So most of the time we're just going to win that on the river. He's just going to fold. There's really nothing that can call there except for pocket kings for threes. Quads makes a lot of sense too, although that's kind of unlikely. But you will see it with a greater frequency at PLO than you would at No Limit Hold'em. We're obviously opening rainbow aces here. This is a very bad aces, but we certainly would still be getting the money in pre-flop if we're given the opportunity. It's a good board for our range, so we're going to see bet. And we also have the gut shot, obviously. You'll see a lot of pocket kings in this guy's range. If he raises, that's just what he's got. I don't think this type of player is going to have the low wrap there. So when he raises, it's just exactly pocket kings or some kind of nut flush draw with a king or two pair somehow. Like, I don't know, you could have like king, queen, 3, 4 or something. I don't know. This is a good candidate for a 3-bet hand. However, this guy's pretty tight. This is also a big winner, and I'm just not going to pump up the pot versus a decent player. Although he does fold to 3-bet 37%, which makes it a little more attractive. But I think I will 3-bet him a lot, but it's just going to be with a little bit of a better hand than that one. This player's VPIP is 38. This is a pretty terrible board for our range, so unless we improve in some way, we're just giving up here. Only bets versus miss C bet 33%, so pretty much when this person makes a hand, they bet, and when they don't, they fold. So that makes it pretty easy to play on the turn. This hand looks decent, but we're just going to fold it. This could be a 3-bet a lot. It's pretty tight, however, from the hijack. I think we'll just play in position with a hand with two ways to make the nuts, like top set, um, or can get this, like see, this is a really nutty hand for me right now. I have a 44% chance to make a straight. And I think by turns I can maybe get this guy off like pocket aces. My SVR is, however, like 13. I sure would like to have backdoor flush draw. I think we can just call here in position. Try to keep this player in and make the nuts. And if we make the nuts, hoping this player has pocket aces now. That'd be pretty sweet. We're just going to pile now. There's a chance you can get free rolled here sometimes. This is a good 3-bet candidate. This hand plays really well, so we're going to 3-bet this hand. Yeah, we're just going to pile here. So we flop an open-ender, backdoor flush draw with a board that's pretty good for our range. It hits both of our wrap 3-betting ranges and our aces 3-betting range, so we're definitely going to see that here. Board pairs. Don't improve it anyway. This player only bets versus miss c-bet 27%. I think we have to c-bet with the aces here. We're going to bet this semi-high-low-low here with our queens as a bluff. I think we just check, go to showdown here. 10's a pretty bad card. We just check fold here. We're going to check back this one as well. We do have a straight here. I guess we try to get some Zen value out of that. We don't have anything going for us here, really. There's really no good river cards, so we're just going to check fold versus this fairly tight player. This board is better for his defending range, so I'm just going to give it up. This player opens a lot. I think we would be 3-betting pretty wide here, but this might be just a little bit too wide. I get kind of lost in some of these spots, so I apologize for that. But I think if you're unsure, it's better just to keep pot small, and only when you have like blockers and a clear chance, good chance of getting them off it with 3 barrels with blockers. I think it's better just to keep it small otherwise. Obviously opening this hand, double suited connected hand. Flopping top pair. This isn't really a hand we can just call a turn lead, so I think we have to c-bet our mediocre hands. If we had any kind of like redraw, we could check this back because we can call a turn lead and actually raise a turn lead pretty well. This player check raises the 8-6-4, and we have the blocker to pocket queens. Check raise is only 12% on the flop. I mean, I guess this player could be representing like a low wrap, like, I don't know, like any kind of 8-high rundown or something. I just think the fact that this player just hardly ever check raises, we just have to give it up. We don't really have anything going for us here, except for top pair, 2 pair outs maybe, and yeah, so I think it's just better off getting away from it there. keep getting that error message. Really weird error messages. I think it's something to do with Table Tamer. Um, oh, and actually another reason you haven't seen me much late last week is my computer died late last week. And I had to reinstall Windows, fresh install. So I lost. Luckily, I had synced all the manager, which not really that doesn't really matter that much. But so I had to reinstall everything. And before it was, I was still having that error, except it was just crashing me. It wasn't even giving me the option of clicking a box. Now at least it pops up a box, and I can choose not to click it. Right. So. So we're down a couple buy-ins this session. It's PLO, so it happens. We're only down half a buy-in in EV though, and we've kind of ran into some weird spots where we bluffed in a good spot and got called. Got check raised a couple times in spots where you're normally not going to get check raised and that type of thing. When a player min raises like this, I think a competent player, they're just trying to minimize the times they get 3-bet. They're trying to see a smaller pot. I mean, they're trying to have a higher SPR with like pocket kings or something here. But I still think we have to 3-bet our aces, especially at decent aces like this. So we flop a pair, 2-pair, I'm sorry. We're obviously never going anywhere here. This player bets versus miss c-bet 67%. I think we're going to check raise. I think it plays a bit easier this way. We'd also be doing this with a lot of our draws. Alright, so now we have the 2-pair and the nut flush draw. So we're just going to pile some money in here. It's really weird this player checked back. Don't know. Doesn't normally do that. But we'll take the 1 pot. Thinking about opening the king 10 9 7 because we have a bad player in the big blind. And we have a couple tighter players to our left. This. We have a fairly strong kings here. We're definitely going to at least see a flop with 2 near nut suits and a big pair. I think this is a good hand to 3-bet versus a really wide opener here. This player also folds to 3-bet 3-bet pots a lot. We're just going to call with this. Unfortunately, we end up in a 4-way pot here. So we're just going to c-bet. I hope just to take it down. This is not the greatest board in the world. But we're still going to c-bet it just because this player folds so often. Yeah, we're not going to put any money into this pot. So we get led into, I guess there's really nothing we can do here. I think this is just a board we just have to give up. I don't think we're going to barrel off. We don't have any blockers or anything. So we're just going to give him to this player. Probably just has like Jack X there most of the time. I think this is barely an open here. I think we bet fold at this river. Certainly some worse flushes that can call. But we can't really stand a raise. I mean, literally less than the nut flush just tends not to raise in PLO. So the only time you'll see that is when they have like the nut blocker. And if you're against a really aggressive player, you might be able to call a raise there. But you need a really good read to do that, I think. This is an attractive hand, but it is rainbow, so in the hijack I'm going to let it go. I will be opening this hand on the button now. Just because I have a couple tighter players behind me, that's the main reason I'm going to open up my range here. player's folding the steal 62%. Only 53 in the big blind, but that's still basically we're almost free rolling there. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Ignition Poker improves. If I see on 2+2 that the lag is gone, we'll certainly do some more sessions there again. I'm keeping about 750 on there for now, and we'll just see what happens. I'm not going to move all my money off yet. If another month goes by and there's no improvements, we'll decide something at that point. You want to try and avoid these low hands. Basically, when you connect really well with that board, nobody else is usually, so it's like you just called for no implied odds. You also get some middle reps that will dominate your low reps, so you got to watch out for those hands. So literally nothing attractive about that hand, besides the fact that it looks pretty. So this game is fun, PLO, but it can be frustrating. The swings are definitely huge. I mean, I'm playing 10 and L, and dropped $20. I mean, that would be like 7 buy-ins, which certainly still happens for me at no limit hold'em, but it's just a lot less frequent. Whereas something like this would be extremely frequent, right? Gonna go ahead and fold this hand, be a little tight with that. Fold that one. Double paired hands are good, but usually you'd like them to be higher double pairs. Pocket queens is a good hand to flop a set with, but threes you can get in a lot of trouble. We're getting a pretty good price here so far, though. We might just call. I think we have to call now that we're getting this good of a price. It's just too much premium on flopping a set versus this many players, especially a couple whales like this. Set over set is definitely a good source of money if you have the right price pre-flop to do it. I'm going to fold this lower card hand here. I would be 3-betting this player with a hand that flops really, really well. It's an easy check fold if we don't hit top set here. Usually when you see a raise on this board, it's just pocket kings. Potentially pocket sevens, but probably pocket kings most of the time. We have suited pocket aces. This is a really strong hand here, ace, ace, king, 3. It's not as strong as, say, ace, ace, king, 10, ace, ace, king, queen, jack, whatever, but it's suited and has 2 ways to make a straight. So we'll definitely increase the size of the pot pre-flop here. That is just a pretty terrible flop for our hand. We're just never continuing on this board. It's just an easy check fold. It's an unfortunate flop. You know, if you get like 10, 9, deuce, deuce, it can be a hand where you just get in. I mean, look how much these guys just basically just flop the world. Yeah, this guy flopped a straight, so. But you can see that they had to get there for me to lose that pot. I mean, if it's like a king 3-3 board, I mean, I just basically own that board most of the time. Anything that doesn't contain 2 to 3 mid cards is what you're looking for most of the time when you 3-bet aces there. This would definitely be a cutoff open, I think, but I think I'm just going to fold it in the hijack. You got to play pretty tight in early position, especially under the gun. It's very difficult to turn a profit under the gun in PLO with an opening range. It's just a fact of the game. Yeah, it's kind of a feast or famine thing here. Either you got more hands than you can handle or nothing's going on. I think when this guy limps, it's mostly like big pairs, like kings, queens, jacks, tens, something like that, trying to hit sets, and I kind of blockers to all that. So I kind of like just to bet any flop here. This guy's gonna have a random hand which can't call usually, and this guy's just gonna fold all of his hands that I just stated, which is really weird. I get raised, and this guy called. That's really weird. That plan did not work out as planned. Having an ace with 2 kings makes the hand a little more strong because you have a blocker to aces. But without any suits, it's basically still just a kind of just hit a set type of hand. I'm not really just going to 3-bet this, try to get it in, because you're still basically going to get it in versus aces every time when you do get it in. This hand plays really well, so I'm going to raise out of the blinds with this. Flops really well. I'm just going to call with the kings here. Try to hit a set or some kind of big draw. We don't do that, so we're just giving up here. So we kind of flop decently here. We have top pair, open ender, although it's not the nut open ender, we're still going to bet. Can't really check call there, so we kind of have to bet. Can't really check raise. I mean, I guess you can, but I don't think it's very profitable in that spot with such a marginal hand. So kind of the thinking, my opinion is probably just you generally want to bet your hands that you can get it in with, kind of check call or check raise with your hands with a lot of equity, or not necessarily nut equity, but you want to kind of create smaller SPRs with, if that makes sense, and just make the hand play easier. And if you get played back at, obviously it's an easy fold at that point because you're probably dominated a lot. But you definitely can still get called by worse. And with the weaker parts of your range, you're probably better off just either having blockers and bluffing, or just check giving up every time, just about. I think against this player, we just have to raise with the ace, king, 8 deuce. He's defending a fair amount, but I think it's an okay raise. This player's opening really wide, however, just not folding to c-bets and 3-bet pots. If this player folded to c-bets like 60% plus in 3-bet pots, I would be 3-betting this hand a lot in position. We have aces versus an earlier position raise. I think we definitely want to 3-bet this in position with a double paired suited ace. And we just take it down pretty. I think people don't 3-bet often enough in position in this game. I think with hands that flop really well, you should do that with a lot higher frequency on the button. I guess people are doing that nowadays at Hold'em anyway, but I think at PLO, with equities running so close together and playing in position and having that positional advantage, and being able to get people to fold equity is a pretty profitable thing to do. Just something I need to work on and find spots to do it. But I think I'm just going to stick to ABC most of the time for now. Try to anyway. Just giving up here. So hopefully this stream is working. OBS Studio was giving us a lot of problems. I switched to Classic. Since I reinstalled Windows, I'm giving it one more chance. I went with like the most basic settings possible. So just let me know if that was a problem. I haven't seen a disconnect yet, so maybe that's a positive sign. This player raises pretty wide on the button. I don't know where this player ISOs a lot though. Doesn't say raise limper anywhere, does it? This would be a really good hand to 3-bet, I think, versus this wide of an opener, but I think in this dynamic I'm just going to fold. with two ways to make nutty hands, I think we just ISO this fishy player here. 56% VPIP. I think we gonna go ahead and 3-bet this player. Folds to 3-bet, C-bets a lot in 3-bet pots. We can flop nut, flush draws. It's a really redonkulously bad board again. Yeah, I think this is just the board we have to check fold a lot. This one, however, we can C-bet. I think we just want to check this down. Yeah, we're just going to give up here. We're going to check back this one. We're not going to try and barrel off this fishy player. That is a pretty good river to represent, though, if he checks. Yeah, we're going to go and represent the king helping our hand in some way. I mean, I think he just busts his flush draw or just has a queen X hand and just folds there most of the time. Unless he has exactly king queen, he's just folding probably. Or some kind of small set. I think all the fish have sat out on this table. I think we just have to 3-bet again with this hand. We're just not getting the right kind of board so far, having done that a lot. Now we get a 4-bet. Player only 4 bets, 8%. So if I had 4 live cards, I would certainly be calling. Not sure what the merits of just calling are out of position here. I'm not really worried so much about the out of position. It's just the fact that this is not that great of a connected hand. If it was Queen Jack 9-4 double suited, I might call this. There's just not much in the way of connectedness enough and nut suitedness. I think we're just going to flop flush draws and have to just get it in there. I just don't think it's good. Apparently this table's going to break now because the fish set out. Oh well. Let's see if there's another table that can take the spot. I don't believe there is. We'll just 3-table. Well, actually this fish just sat back in here. Or just sat in, so we'll stay. That's fortunate. This player c-bets 60%, but only barrels 35%. I think it's just a pretty good board just to float and then take it away on turns. I think that's a pretty good board to do it. Doesn't have a jack. That's a pretty bad turn. I guess we just have to give up, because really what are we representing there if we call? It's a pretty good board to see that. Connects with our range pretty good. We get 3-bet by this tighter 3-better, I think. Yeah. It's not the worst aces in the world. I think we just get it in. I mean, we usually won't have worse than 55% equity even against like ace, jack 10 or something. You certainly could get it in versus like king, jack something or other. King, queen, something like that will get it in versus us. Doesn't necessarily have to have aces here. Just as the majority of the time. That board just never connects with this player. Unless he has like a spade draw and aces, which would be unfortunate. And that's a pretty unfortunate run out. Oh, he had a 5 too. That's just terrible for us. Terrible flop for us. Ugh. We were way ahead pre there. Goes to show how quickly you can run bad in PLO. So we'll look here. We had 64% equity and we went to 40. We still had 44% on the flop though. We were actually flipping on the turn. So we pick up another good hand of 3 bets. We're kind of getting pwned. We have the nuts here, so we're just going to bet. Wow. So you can just see just a couple bad situations how much money you can dump. That was a pretty terrible play by this player here, by the way. It's a pretty good board to continue with, I think. We have some backdoors, straights. It can come out a dynamic turn and river, and we can get them off a lot of hands. Or we can just fold on the flop. I mean, that was a pretty unfortunate flop, but at least we still had basically a flip. Yeah, unless this player flopped a set of kings, he's pretty close to dead pre-flop. 64% is a ton of equity pre-flop. So this was a huge mistake. Unless he thinks that I mean, I guess I've been actively 3-betting this player, so maybe it's not terrible. But when I 4-bet, normally it's just aces at this level. There's not a whole lot of 4-bet bluffing at this level. Hey, Osama, how you doing? Good to see you. You're here to watch me struggle at PLO, I'm assuming. A rubber peanut. I don't know. Remember the, I think it was from the, didn't they used to sell rubber peanuts? I don't remember. I don't remember where I got the reference from, but it was, I played Meridian 59 back in the day, and we had an account with a character named Rubber Peanut. It was a player killer. It's pretty notorious on the server, but I just liked the name, so I took it on this. It had just enough characters to fill up the slot or whatever the full name. I thought it might be a tilting name for players to play against. So yeah, this is a pretty terrible flop here. So once again, we'll just check fold. Not flopping very well at all, hardly. Once again, we're going to try and exploit this player's post-flop tendencies. And just call this flop. It's a pretty good turn for us. We flop a pair, and we have kind of a straight that might not be good sometimes, but I think we just have to bet now. I think we can call this 3-bet with 8-7-4 double suited. And we flop 2 pair. We're certainly never going anywhere, and we're just going to barrel off now. Follow through. We have to follow through. We're repping a straight or 2 pair sets. Unless he has aces, can't continue, right? So we're just running really terrible against this player. We're just going to pump it up and get it in. Well, actually, you know what? We might not be doing that. This player could be 3-betting a lot of hands that include 9-10. I think we just call and play a turn. This player should hate this board. Really should not be c-betting this with like aces. I think we just protect now. We have to protect our hand. We're certainly going to get folds from like aces, right? Which has a lot of equity against us. So unfortunately we don't get any action with our primo hand here. Wow, we're running pretty terrible bad today. I've been playing a lot of PLO lately, and this is the worst I've run since I started playing. So we're really down a buy-in basically in EV, and we're running terrible. So, but we're down a good 35. Wow, that's 3.5 buy-ins. That's a lot of buy-ins. But we're not going to move down from 10 and L. If we bust this roll, we'll just load another 200 and start over, right? Eventually, we will run good and move up. But it can turn around really quickly. We can win 2 or 3 stacks, boom, 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 too. So that's just the nature of PLO. I think every stack off we've had has been reasonable. We've run into some monsters. We've gotten some bad flops in spots where we 3-bet. Every single one of our 3-barrel bluffs or our river bluffs has not worked yet, pretty much. So it's a bad combination. I mean, that's kind of how you can win bad. But that's okay. Let's say it's kind of killing my PLO graph. Here's my graph for the last couple weeks. And look at today, what it's doing to my graph. My poor, beautiful graph is getting destroyed by today's session. Wow. I hate to say you guys are bad luck, but what the hell? Look at that. I guess that's going to happen. It was kind of just a steady as she goes, not a whole lot of variance, not a whole lot of big pots type of thing, which is the way I like it. And then boom, today happens. It's really weird. Yeah, I think I'm running something like 19 big blinds per 100 in the last couple weeks. I haven't been playing a lot of this, but enough. And I thought, what the hell, we might as well try and build a bankroll, right? I ran it up from like 110 to 220. I was like, well, why don't we just make a challenge out of it? That's what we're doing. If we ever start running, what happened here? Did I accidentally sit out? So, I mean, it's going to be fun if we run good, right? I can run the bankroll up playing PLO. Kind of doing this to learn a new game, which I think is good. I think this is a good game to learn. And for definitely high on the fun factor, right? So it's not, hopefully this won't be as much of a grind. And we'll learn something in the process. There's a lot of fish at PLO. I'm one of them, but hopefully not as fishy as like this 70 VPIP guy. This is one of those good hands to 3-bet. I think I would be 3-betting any of these players. I flip top pair and the second nut flush draw. I think we have to start putting money in this pot. Our king high flush can definitely dominate some other flush draws. Not the best card in the world, but definitely we're going to keep betting here. I think we on a pairing board. I mean, I think he's going to have some pocket 3s, 8s. It's going to be hard to get value from. Do we bet fold and try to get a worse flush to call? I think we get check raise. It's just a boat every time, right? So we have to try and get value from a worse flush here. If he raises, it's just an easy fold. People do like to check raise rivers a lot, so I don't think he's raising worse than I think he's just calling with a flush. So I mean, it's frustrating because we don't get to see his hand, obviously, but I just think he has ace-10 or pocket 3s that made a boat or whatever. So we're never checking back there when we make the nut flush, even though it's a paired board. We're just going to bet fold. It just sucks that he happened to have that hand, right? Instead of just having a worse flush. hand is almost good enough to 3-bet here. Almost. This player's opening very wide. We're just gonna fold here. Definitely opening this strong of a hand. That would also be a 3-bet just from not every position. This player is opening really wide. We do have a good hand to 3-bet here, so we're going to do this. I just realized how short this player is. So if we connect in any way to this board, assuming he doesn't 4-bet us, we might be priced in if he 4-bets. Wow, okay. If this player continues, we might just have to put it in here. Yeah, if this is aces and aces or aces and kings, we have the most equity here, and this is most certainly aces. Yeah, I think this is one of those spots where I've kind of just pinned myself in the corner. I think I'm gonna have like 38–40% equity 3-way here. A lot of the time, it sucks, but I just have to put it in here. Unfortunately, he's got one of our suits. We make a straight here. Do we win? Yes, we win the whole pot, I think. So we can check our equity there, but I'm pretty sure that we had at least 33% equity, if not more. That may look kind of fishy to you players out there that aren't PLO players, but so the stream is going offline again. That sucks, man. But we had that issue fixed. So I flop a decent straight draw here. I think we just have to fire out of position. That's a good board to continue betting. I mean, a good card to continue betting. Are we getting a good enough price? We're really deep here, so we have to call with kings. And now we're just check folding on that board. So I think this player either connects really well with the non-ace hands in his range, or just has aces here. We could float and try to rep something, but it's with the paired board, it's just hard to do that. I'd rather float a board like 9-7-5 or something. So let's see what our equity was. I think I have Pro Poker Tools or something. Actually, you know what? I don't need that at all. Shit. I've got Hold a Manager, which should give us the equities. So, okay, I only had 33% equity, and I'm assuming it's because this guy had cards. We shared a 9 here, we shared a 6 here. And he had my hearts covered, and he had an ace of spades. So, but if you see that we still had a third of the pot pre-flop, which is more than enough, right, to put the money in, considering we had already 3-bet. I think our hand is good enough to call a turn bet, so we can check back here. Wow. This player does not lead many turns. This is not a weak lead. Yeah, he's got really low aggression frequency on the turn. Yeah, I think we're going to make a tight fold here. I don't even know how tight that is. Hey, Osama. I mean, there's bluffing in PLO, but it's not like maniac bluffing. I mean, there are people that play that way, but I don't think that it's super profitable or anything. I've been really active against this player, so I don't think we'll Stick it in there. I think for most good players, it's about bluffing scare cards and with blockers and things like that. We're going to just try and make a set here. It's a little bit weak, I think, even though we do have a fish in the blinds. I think we can open this with the fish in the blinds. Obviously, we're not going to fold for that price. We flop a 6, we flop the nuts here. Yeah, I think on this board we just have to pot it. We don't have the nuts anymore, do we? I think we have to just check call now. We have a lot more going for us than just the ace, so we can definitely call a turn bet. So we're going to check back. We're just going to call down here. We end up making the nuts. I guess we have just letting bluff. I don't think he's going to call, you know, with like a straight or anything. So we're going to let him bet with like pocket fives or straight here. We're just going to get it in with the nuts. We get led into here. We're going to raise here. Try to get him off like ace king or something. And he did actually turn the nuts on us. That really lucky guy. Lucky for us for the redraw. So we get led into, and we have an overpair and a flush draw. I mean, with his stack size, we just have to pile it in. Yeah, so he just has like a wrap here. And we end up rivering the nuts. That's good. So see how quick the money can come and go at PLO? Isn't it crazy? It's exciting though, right? Exciting. It's really exciting when you're on the winning end. Not so exciting when you're on the losing end. But as you can see, we just gained like $25 back in like 2 minutes. That's like 2.5 buy-ins. Like just boom. So yeah. Life is good right now. We're still not back to our starting, but we're only down 11 for the session. So we have the nut flush draw, a pair, and an overpair. We are kind of deep here. We can definitely stand a raise, so we're going to go ahead and start building a pot against this player. I think we get raised, it's just pocket kings, it's like combos, like flush draw, and, well, maybe not flush draw, but like set. Well, I don't know. It's really, he's representing a very narrow range when he can't really have a set of eights, and threes doesn't make sense. He couldn't just pile threes in. So this is either a set of kings or a bluff a lot, and he's just not the type player to bluff. So it's kind of weird, but we're certainly calling. I think he's just exactly got kings here every time. I mean, what are the odds, right? I mean, I just don't think this is the type of player that can pull off some kind of crazy bluff. I don't see any reason for this player to be on tilt. Although that is a really good turn card if he doesn't have a set of kings. I mean, if I call the turn bet, I just have to call the river bet. I mean, could be drawing dead here sometimes. Wow. I think I'm just going to fold. I mean, this is PLO. I still think it's better to bet the flop rather than checking back, because this is not an aggressive player. I guess an aggressive player could check back that flop. That's really weird though. To get that flop with aces and have to give up on the turn is kind of weird. We don't flop anything here. We flop a straight here with a backdoor flush draw. Life is good. Start building a pot. We also have the overpair, which is kind of irrelevant, right? At this point. If board pairs, it's not irrelevant. It's 2 more outs. This is a good hand here because you can call 100% of 3 bets. This board's really good for my range. Should be bad for his. We have some backdoors as well. Usually we'll see a fold here most of the time, I would think. I think this is a good hand to 3-bet. The small blind. I think I've kind of been getting calmed in the small blind with my 3-betting, but I've been really active against this player. It'd be nice to actually flop something for once. Alright, so I do flop a pair and a flush draw here. I'm definitely not going anywhere. We have to see that, just get it in here. Lockdown board here. So the one time I have something I can stack off with, he just folds. It sucks. So we start building a pot here. It's really not much this player can continue with, except maybe a set of 10s, 9s, 6s, flush. Still have the nuts on the turn. We're just going to keep building a pot, I think, unless we want to check back and maybe get a raise out of him on the river, mitigate when the board pairs. Yeah, I'm going to take that line. I mean, 7-8 of spades obviously has his beat, but that's not something we can really worry about. But I think a flush, he would never expect us to check back in the nut flush on the turn. So I think a flush will bet call here. So we're just going to raise and try to get called by a flush or a straight somehow. So we get the same amount of value, I think, regardless of how we play that. But we're just never getting all the money in if the board pairs. So makes that line a little bit better, I think. It's hard for him to have anything. We're going to check and deuce. We're just going to check call, take a check call line now. Check call, check call. We're never folding. Never folding anything here. If you just made a straight, you just got us, buddy. Okay, so yeah, it was just an open ender on the turn. I guess we could maybe find a fold with an ace or 9 river, but as that's played, I just don't see it happening. You just got me. This board's really good for our range. We have backdoors, so we're going to bet. This high-low-low is a really good board to check raise. So we could get check raise light here sometimes. This player is definitely capable of it, I think. It's one of the better regs at this level, so I almost want to 4-bet this. Or I'm sorry, 3-bet this. We could turn hearts and shove. I mean, is this a little bit too high level for this level? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe instead I should be checking this back and raising this player on the turn. I only live once, right? I'm going to go ahead and raise, and then commit on any improvement on the turn, like a heart on the turn. Yeah, so this is just a high-low-low, typical check raise by a good reg, confident reg that knows I can't connect that well with that board. So we just have to level that person. Yeah, I would not be doing that, but this player is like a 12 big blind winner, I think, at this stake. Normally when I play, I see this player having like a stack of like 600 big blinds, 1,000 big blinds the other day. This player had 1,300 big blinds, so plays marathon sessions and just crushes this stake. So there's not many regs we could do that against, but that's the one maybe reg I could do that against. Once again, Matissa raises. We're just going to flat here and just play a pot. We're just going to pot it once it checks. Just nothing can continue here except a flush or maybe a set. And when we pot it, it just looks like we have it. I wouldn't want to bet smaller than this because we can do some kind of check raise, especially with like a blocker. We're just going to check here. with our weak top pair and got shot. This player doesn't seem to bet unless he has it. So we'll get to see some turn cards and reevaluate things. We do have a blocker to the straight, but I'm just not going to bet. Not in the 3 players. Yeah, that river destroyed any hope we had of actually being good here. You'll see that a lot. That plo. I'll open this over the limper here. Fold that. Okay, so we get kind of a weak, not really a wrap. This is more like just an open-ender. I mean, the jack kind of kills the hand. So we're just going to check fold this one. We're obviously going to bet this one with the ace. If he doesn't have an ace or pocket tens, he folds, right? Might be hesitant to check raise me again just because I would just 4-bet him. This helps our hand a little bit, but really only if it checks through and we just happen to get there on the river and then nobody ever bets. It's just, we're never putting any more money in this pot. This is a trap hand for like a really bad player to continue here because you think, okay, I got an open ender and I got a flush draw. Well, one thing, the flush is never good, right? And the open ender will also complete some better straights. So there you go. Just don't do it. We have a pair and a blocker to some of the hands that would like this flop, so that's the reason I'm going to bluff this flop. Probably going to shut down on a lot of turns though. If I did not have a 9 in my hand, I wouldn't be betting. That's actually a really good card to barrel. I think I'll have to bet every river now. Only like ace queen or sets or something will call me down. We could definitely get a call here with like 8, 10, jack X or something like that, but probably would never connect. Well, the time, it'll be pretty obvious when they get there, and we could just check fold. If we get like a deuce in the river, we can just bet again. I normally don't complete these hands, but this is just a big fish here, and who knows? Maybe we get like a deuce, deuce, deuce flop or something. This player has 51 VPIP. I'm just not going to call here. I'm just going to be done with it. We're almost back up to our startings, where we started this session. You would have never thought that 15 minutes ago, if that was even possible. I think this is a good hand to 3-bet with a blocker, double suited hand. nut 3 big cards. And this player also folds to 3-bet 37%. That may be like the one chink in this player's armor. As he folds to, I think that's too high of a fold to 3-bet. I could be wrong. Maybe not this level. Maybe if it's like an ace heavy. I guess if you're opening wide, but I don't think this player opens wide enough to fold that often. It's pretty much a 4-line card you can call a lot of 3-bets, I think. This player is going to 3-bet aces a lot, so we should have the nuts here, I would think. I'm just giving up here. It looks like a good hand, but it's crap. I mean, the board's really good for our range, which makes betting not so great, but it's going to look kind of fishy when I check there. So there's definitely some hands that can continue. Sam plays really well post-flop. This player's kind of tight. Yeah, I can't really 3-bet here. Because once I 3-bet, I think I'm committed. But I am going to call on the button with the 9-8-8-6 double suited. I think it's fine. I think this player might check fold a lot of boards. I mean, we're not really looking for a flush draw here. We would much rather have like straight draws. I'm actually going to realize some equity here and check back. We're just going to continue checking. That's a really bad card in case this player was slow playing kings, which is probably a good part of his range when he checks the flop. Alright, so he had trip jacks, so that's good. So we got a little value out of him. That's really kind of a weird hand for him to have being so tight. Maybe not. Maybe not. This is not a flop where you want to just pile it in. This is really almost like second pair and hold 'em. We will bet the turn, however, just to protect in case he has a gut shot or something. So we're back to even in EV. Who would have thunk it, right? We were only down like, what, 16 in AV at our low point. So we're back up to 216. So we only need, what, $34 more to make a shot at 25 and 0. We're going to take a shot at 10 buy-ins, if I didn't mention that already. Tempted to open this with a fish in the blinds. I think I'm going to min raise it. I just want to play pots with these players. Well, this player for sure. Hey, thanks very much for the follow. And I think your name was Adjigo. This flop's pretty good for my range. I'm just going to bet. I expect just to take it down. I mean, it's not really a hand you want to just slow play. You'll find out pretty quickly if you're not good. There is some hands you can get value from, but most of the time you just want to just get him off of his 25% equity, because most hands will still have upwards of 30% equity and a lot on that kind of board. And really, when it comes down to it, I don't have a very deep understanding of this game. I'm just going to be straightforward with that. But I do know that a lot of it is about denying people realizing their equity, just kind of like Hold'em, except I think it's more on steroids here because equities run pretty close together. So if you have like 60% equity on the flop and you get a guy to fold his 40% equity, that's a huge victory. That almost never happens at Hold'em, right? Somebody have that much equity and just give up. Definitely opening the king, 10, 9. It's completely connected, has one weak suit and so can make a set of kings as well. We have blockers to king jack. That's the reason I'm going to bet this flop. It's not that I really love my hand here. It's more the blocker thing. And I have two pair. I can make a boat. Okay, so we have what? Overpair, flush draw. This guy's pretty passive. I think we just check. Start with a check here. We kind of have the nuts now. I don't see any point betting. It's going to be hard to get called by worse. So I think we just check and possibly get him to bluff sometimes. He has a 5. I mean, good game, sir. So he would have never called a flop or turn bet with that hand. So we got a little bit of value by checking. It's just like Hold'em here. You still have to ask yourself a question: can you get called by worse? And even though I had the flush draw there, it's just not like he's going to hit his flush and just pile all the money in, right? We're pretty deep. So when a flush does come in, it's going to get 2 streets anyway. So I might as well check the flop and just get my bets in on the turn and river. A little limp behind here with the ace, jack, queen, 5 with the suited ace. When you do this here, it's just basically to try and nut over nut somebody. That's it. So we're up in EV now. Yay! That's pretty crazy. We were down to, what were we down to? Something like 180 or something at one point. So let's go ahead and pump another 3 buy-ins. So it's going offline every 2 minutes, huh? Man. I mean, I could switch back to classic. The problem is I like having this sweet scene switcher where I can get the tables big like this. I don't think that was an option in classic. So I don't know what's causing I can't figure out what's causing the problem. Nobody else is having this problem, are they? I can't seem to find anything on it. The things I do find on it have something to do with being on Wi-Fi, and I'm hardwired. So I just don't get it. It's really frustrating though, because I thought maybe reinstalling Windows, starting new, rebuilding everything would get rid of that issue. I even went through all the guides. I found like the most performance optimized setup for my OBS. The only thing I can think of is it's my internet, and it's just that's the cause. But I don't seem to be having any lag when I play, right? So wouldn't you think I would have intermittent lag when I play if it was the problem? I just don't get it. Is anybody else out there having the same problem, or is it wouldn't just happen to be you, would it, Osama? That'd be pretty funny if all this time it was just you. And I was like doing all this optimization, putting hours into it, you know. It was just you. But you're not the only one that said that, so I'm just joking. This guy's a fish. I would not open this hand, actually. This is really marginal for him to the gun. But because this is a fish, I'm going to min raise it into the gun. This is a close to a 3-bettable hand. If it was 7-6 here instead of 3-6, I would 3-bet that. Or if this player was just extremely wide and folded to c-bets a lot, I would also do that. So we get 3-bet by the fish, who is 3-betting 7% over 173 hands. We're getting 25 to 1, and we have possible 3-way action here. I think it's close, but I think we have to call. So we don't get a very good flop for our hand. We flop a deuce, but that's about it. Backdoor flush draw. We get 3-bet by the reg again. Let's see, 3 bets, big blind versus button 4%. So this is aces heavy range here. And we don't have a double suited hand. We share an ace. We have bad proximity here. I think we just get away from this hand. And this one as well. Ow, that would have been an awesome turn too. Open-ended now with a nut flush draw. If we knew a 10 of hearts was coming. We'll go ahead and observe this hand. Don't do it! Oh, made the nuts. Figures, right? This board's good for our range up here. This player had king 6-5-3 with the flush draw. So, man, just betting the turn with top pair, no kicker, and a flush draw. Actually bet the flop with a king. I guess king and, well, I guess okay, 2 pair, never mind. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell in PLO. It takes me a minute to focus on a hand, but yeah. So yeah, 2 pair on the flop, so I understand the bet protection thing. So we're down a penny in EV now. I don't want to lose that. I want my penny back. Thank you very, very much for the follow. I can't make out the name. It's too small on my screen, but yeah, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. Hopefully we get some PLO fans to pay attention to the stream and pick up some new people here. And try and apply some automatic poker principles to PLO, maybe get our own slant on things. That might be pretty interesting. And at the same time, try to grind up a bankroll. Being really aggressive with our bankroll management. I don't see any reason not to be. We built a 4K roll already. We can kind of just throw a few $100s at this. This board connects really well with a flatting range. Check back, and I'm going to raise any card that improves my hand, which that definitely improves my hand. I'm not going to call though. I'm going to raise. This player does this a lot. Leads turns. I think he would expect me to bet king 10 a lot on the flop, but maybe not like a weak king 10, like king 10, 3-3 or something. So I mean, I can credibly still rep the king 10. It's a very easy fold if I get raised here. Yeah, I'm not going to continue. I think it's a profitable semi-bluff on the turn because there's just really nothing that can continue here except for maybe a set or a king 10. And I think it's just always king 10 when I get raised here on the turn, which is a large portion of his range for sure. But it's not a big enough part that I can't just raise there. I think a set could definitely, first of all, we have equity against the set. A set could definitely just call there and then check fold the river. So yeah, usually when a set calls there, it's just trying to make a boat. If it doesn't make a boat, it just gives up. So we can bet 100% of rivers once we're called profitably there. So we're setting up a profitable river situation more than anything, and it's a very cheap bluff. It doesn't have to work that much, and it kind of exploits the fact that he leads turns a lot, I think. Do we 3-bet this? I think it was Queen Jack 10 I would, but I'm going to just fold King 10. Ouch. Oh well. Oh wow. That's what I get for not 3-betting that hand. I mean, probably not getting called by anything. That's still unfortunate. I mean, we're probably not winning any more money, but it still sucks to fold quads, right? But you'll see that a lot. I've folded 2 royal flushes recently, so. Is this player fishy? Nope, 28-21. Folds to steals a lot. So I'm going to give this player the blue label and expand my opening range. If I had known that before I had that hand, I would have opened it. This player might be fairly competent. Let's see. 41-15. Kind of. Well, I think it's okay. I think it's okay to stay on this table. This is probably a fish. Sit down with not much money. We definitely can steal, like, when this player's in the blinds. Of course, that's not going to happen anymore because this player sat down. But I would definitely rather be in this seat right here, I think. This player's opening a lot of buttons, so we're going to 3-bet. And that's a good board to c-bet. As you see, we're repping one hand, and we actually have another. This player has like a high card, ace, king, queen, jack. They'll continue here or something. It should be folding a lot of their hands, like 10, 9, 8, 7 would be folding here, right? Even though they have a pair. It's just, I'm repping aces there. And they're just used to seeing people have aces when they 3-bet. So I just like that board for when I'm bluffing. And we could definitely turn like a low wrap or something too. So it's cool. It's cool to be able to bluff one part of a part of your range that doesn't. Well, bluff one part of your range that you don't actually have, and actually have the other part. I don't think we can flat this. Wow, we're at the 3-betting or folding this. And this player's been pretty tight in the hijack so far. We're just gonna fold. Yeah, I was just joking, man. I know it's not you, but I wish I could get somebody to figure out the problem with my. If anybody out there is an expert on OBS Studio, and can help me, because I'm really at a loss, and I hate. Well, I don't hate Classic. I just like the new features on Studio, and they're not updating Classic anymore. So Studio is where it is. I'm at a loss on what to do. We're going to try and take the button here over this limper with our double suited hand low mini wrap. We're basically just trying to set up a profitable c-bet here. I mean, that's just basically what this is. Yuck. Alright, so we're done with this hand, unless we turn like 2 pair or trips or something. We're just done with this hand. Yeah, it's not a great turn. We're just never good here. This just check calling range smashes this flop a lot of the time. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to. And we're going to open really wide here on this button with this nip in the big blind. Yeah, so we just can't do anything there. It's unfortunate. Jack 9, 10 9, 10 8. Any of those boards are pretty bad. Well, I don't think we can see about this board. This just smashes a nit's calling range, so yeah. I think unless we get an ace on the turn, we're pretty much done with this hand. Wow. Well, not an ace, I'm sorry. It doesn't really do us any good. Yeah. I mean, we're just basically trying to make a boat. We do have a blocker against King Jack. What's your aggression factor? Pretty aggressive player. Could we ever be good with ace 10? We're going to make a straight 1 in 5 times. We're going to make a boat 10% of the time probably. So we got 30% equity. So what do we need to call here? I think 10 to 1 is a decent call here. I think we're actually getting the right direct price here because it's a rainbow board. So I think we just have to, it's a pot odds thing here. And there's some realm, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you check it's the river and we're good. But I think assuming he had the nuts or something, I think we had enough equity there to call that turn bet. But we're never calling the river. We're either raising or folding here, and I don't know. If I had ace jack jack here, I might just raise the turn. I mean the river, because I mean we have blockers. I think one jack is a little bit ambitious, maybe. But I think the way we played that was okay. Sure, it can be improved. We're going to try and do that. Oh, so we've gone 15 minutes now. That happened back in the, I don't know, a month or two ago. It would be fine. I mean, it would just drop for like the first hour and then suddenly clear up. So, I don't know. It's like no rhyme or reason to it. No freaking rhyme or reason. Player's opening 40% now. For a min raise, we just have the right player price to call here. I think we just pop the flop. I mean, what can he do? If he doesn't have a flush, he just has to fold, right? Or set. Really? I guess he has a flush or a set. And once again, we just have the right price here. You don't want to get too crazy with that, but I think for a min raise, you can flat really wide with this type of hand. That's really weird. Because he bluffed a flush. I mean, it's supposed to be hard to do. It's not as hard to do in PLO, but still hard to do. Let's have a pair and a backdoor weak flush draw. We're not going to continue here. See, when you have the right price to call, you don't have to get crazy with marginal hands because you had the right price to call. This is just kind of a he loves it or hates it type board, similar to no limit hold'em. Wow. What's he ever getting called in spots that you're not supposed to get called? Of course, this guy is a fish. He could definitely just call it like a queen or a jack on a flop. We're still going to see bet that monotone board. Definitely opening the jack, jack 5-4 with the fish in the blinds. Hopefully he has like pocket eights here and it's a jack 8 flop. Well, I think he probably 3-bets aces, right? 3-bets 1%. I think I actually like an open here. This is a little bit ambitious, but there is a fish in the blind, and we can make the nuts. We can make some kind of middle wrap. Once again, a fish in the blinds. I'm just going to open pretty wide. It might be pretty transparent what I'm doing to the regs, but so this is what you want when you have ace 7 suited here. Because if you flop a flush draw or get a flush, just such a premium on it. We haven't really seen that this session yet. We haven't really nut over nutted anybody, but it will happen occasionally. We have the right hand to call 3-bet here. Although this guy's probably got aces. I hate calling 3-bets when I have an ace, when it's almost obviously aces, but I don't know. Is this a fold, guys? I really don't know. I don't know. Should hate that board, right? I'm not going to rep it right off the bat. We do have some outs. If he happens to have aces here, we do have some outs, 2-pair outs and such. So I think we have to try and take that down. It looks like he's trying to give up there, so let's let him give up. He's not even beating queens, queen jack, any of those hands a lot of the time. So. This guy aggro. This guy's a fish, I call. Okay, this guy's a fish, so I'm going to call here in the small blind. A little marginal, I think. But I do have the nut suit and ace king. Don't flop anything. As par is the course today. I'm not going to rep anything on this board. That's a crazy board to bluff at. I'm going to call here with the higher. Actually, I misread my hand. I should not have called there because I only had one thing going for me. I thought it was ace 10-10, but I was mistaken. We do have a gut shot here in top pair, but it's kind of irrelevant, I think. I mean, we have a double gutter, right? Yeah, double gutter. We're just not going to call a bet. We're just going to, if we hit it, we hit it. We do have two pair now, but it did complete 5-7. We have a blocker to the 7. Do we still bet? I don't know. I think it's still a check fold. I think it's still a check fold. I mean, it might just check through and we're good at showdown, right? So maybe we're just good at showdown here. I think this can be opened under the gun. Queen, jack, 9-7 double suited, especially with a fish in the blinds. I guess he could be betting ace king, ace queen here. Some kind of set because there's, I mean, 5-7 is the only straight out there. So I think I would be betting like ace queen there. Got flattened in position by this player again. Hasn't folded to a C bet yet. Let's have top pair, gut shot, backdoor flush draw. It's a really bad board for my range though. I think I check decide here based on his betting. I think he should be betting this 100% when I check. So I'll probably just check fold out of position. It's weird that he checked back. Could just have like pocket queens, jacks, something like that he would check back. I obviously have no 4s in my range, so I think we just lose here. He's gonna have like queens or something, probably. And there's nothing we can do. I mean, I could see him betting kings there, maybe. I mean, it could be like bluffing with jacks there or something too. We just flop a lot of equity against a random hand, so we're going to bet. So you see we're not winning a whole bunch recently, but we're kind of losing small pots, kind of treading water, which is fine. We only want to make pots big when we have it. This guy's kind of shortish. I think we just 3-bet the aces. Could definitely check call here, so I'm going to start with a check. There's really not much in his range here besides like 10x, sets of 10s. We can get called by a 10x hand here on the turn. That we have to bet the 5-2-3. Not the best card. I mean, there are some king 10s in his range. I think he's going to check back his 10x hands. I think he'll bet king 10, but he'll check back like king x that he made. So I think we have to check fold this. He might even check back king 10 here. Yeah. Could certainly have a set of 10s or kings. Probably not 10s, probably kings. King 10, maybe. Potting it though. Wow, he has like, well, there's a lot of aggression frequency. Why would he pot it though? I mean, I could see this being king 10. I mean, it's, I have a blocker against queen, so we have to assume. I'm just gonna give this guy credit. I mean, we could definitely be getting bluffed here. But I'm just not gonna call that with one pair. That's what sucks about being out of position. I almost wish I had bet, well, I guess I wish I had potted the turn. Bet a little bit bigger. That's okay though, small pot. So I'll look behind the suited ace here. Flop a par, but that's about it. Backdoor flush draw. Backdoor straight draw. We're definitely checking back to try and realize equity. We're not going to try and blast anybody off anything. I just don't think it's profitable to just try and bet 4 people off anything. We're just going to check it down here. Hit trip 4 is probably not good on that board. This guy's opening really wide. I'm going to play in position against him. So yeah, we're going to bet. This board's pretty good for our range. We have the low part, but we're repping the high. Flop top 2, that's good. Just going to check back our trips. We're not getting any flushes to fold here, so. And of course somebody has it, which I would expect almost always people to have it. We have 3 pair, so I feel more comfortable about stacking off against 3 pair. We do have the backdoor flush draw. Gonna open the queens here. Gonna bet our top 2, top 3. I have live cards here. This player could be doing it light versus me. Let's see. Not really. So I think the fact that we know he pretty much has aces, we have to call here, right? Just such a premium on either getting a board that we can bluff him, or so we're just gonna check back with our gut shot, and we have live cards for sure. But we're not gonna call a bet. I could see him repping like the ace of diamonds here. There's a lot of river cards we can rep, like anything between a queen and an 8 we'll bet. 7's pretty good. We're just going to fold here. We definitely had the right equity there. Thank you very much for the follow. I'm kind of lost in that spot a little bit. I think it's better to stay on the side of checking back, checking back. I think knowing he's got an ace heavy range, I think with a pair we can just check it and try to realize equity there. We're just going to continue calling with our set here. And we'll call rivers as well. Even though that pretty much completes just about everything in the world, right? Yeah, so not much we can do there. He got a straight and a flush there. Not a straight flush, but a straight and a flush. So we have a straight draw, over pair, backdoor flush draw. Might just have to bet and get it in. I think we might have enough equity just to get it in here. I don't know, actually. It's a tricky spot. What's he raising here? Like a king's? Don't have a pair. I would prefer to have a pair here. We just don't know here. Gut shot, live gut shot, backdoor flush draw. It's not a nut flush draw. I just always get lost in these spots. How aggro is this guy? He's pretty aggro, right? Raise, c-bet, 0 of 1. Just, I have a low sample. And he's short too. I mean, my implied R's aren't that great. If I hit an 8, it's not like I'm getting a whole bunch more money, right? So, just going to err on the side of caution there. Oh, hey, Gio. Yeah, I bought it for 100 big blinds. Playing deep stacked PLO. I mean, it's a PLO HUD that I built. I'm not a complete beginner. I tried to learn it a little bit last year, but I'm definitely not like a pro. So he's 3-betting me, I think, 2 straight times in this spot. It's a, kind of a weird board. It's definitely better for his range, although I do have the open-ended straight flush draw. I think I checked back, try to realize equity here. Hit straight. I think it's just a call now. This player likes to lead a lot. If we're beat on this board, it's just a cooler, I think. So we're just going to call down. We're not going to raise. Let's wait the straight flush. It's a pretty bad river, but it's not necessarily. He's not necessarily going to bet the weaker flushes in his range. He might. We had a plan on the turn. If he had a flush, he's got a flush. He just got us. Wow, and he flopped the nuts. So that's a little bit unfortunate on our part. Unfortunate that we hit the straight on the turn. It would have been a pretty sweet spot to hit the. Not that we would necessarily would have got his whole stack, but to hit the straight flush would have been pretty cool. So, yeah, this guy runs good. No wonder he's the biggest winning reg. So kind of been picking our way around hands here, kind of running bad situationally. But that's the nature. We have to check fold this board. Even though he c-bets a lot, it's hard to find a c-bet on this board for any range, pretty much. It's kind of weird, man. This session's been kind of lose a whole bunch real fast, gain a whole bunch real fast, and now just kind of steady decline, losing small pots. And a lot of these small pots I could definitely be playing better, I think. Although I can't really beat myself up. I kind of ran into the nuts there and all that good stuff. This is interesting. I mean, there's nothing this player can fold, so what are you waiting for? You should just stick it in. Anything that you can do this with, you have to just put in. Alright, so one player with aces. 10-7's ahead, 10-7 wins. You run good, Joe Dwarf. Joe Dwarf. Definitely 3-betting this hand versus a 55% opening range. Yeah, another terrible board for our range. So we just have to check this back. We're going to bet the king high board, pretty big, just rep it. Be hard for him to continue on this board. So he just exactly has a set of kings or trips, which is hard for him to have. We don't really have anything here. Yeah, high card king with a gut shot. I don't think that's good enough to bluff, so we're just going to give it up here. Like ace-10, 8-8, we might 3-bet here. Although this guy's really tight. We might not actually. I think we can open that and a hijack. Getting 3-bet by Mr. Beans. Wow, I seem to be getting 3-bet a lot. I guess with double suited hand with this nut suit and pocket tens, we can call here for 7 more big blinds. Unfortunately, we're not flopping anything again. I guess ace-10, 9-7 would be much better here. Yeah, I don't even know if that's a call pre-flop, honestly. I think it's better to have this type of hand than the one I had. I'm not sure. So definitely 3-betting this hand versus a wide opener. Calls. We get a king high flop. It's a pretty good board to c-bet again. So we'll do that. High low low is a good board to check back, but also on my I have a pretty I mean, I'll have aces in my 3-bet range a lot. It's a pretty bad turn card no matter how you slice it, so we're just going to give up here. Yeah, I mean, we have nothing. I just think he's going to have a weak flush here a lot, and he's never folding. Yeah. So he had a pretty strong hand pre-flop. The good thing about this site is it's 26 or 7% rake back. I think it's 26, 27. I guess it doesn't matter. I also got a little bonus I'm clearing on here too, so that helps. We're not used to having that on ignition, right? So every little bit helps. I don't know if these games are even any good anymore. This guy's a fish. Give him the green label. So that's an okay table. This guy's a rig. This guy's semi-fishy here. He's 47% BPI. P. Would have flopped a straight here. Not the nut straight though. It's a little bit weak. This guy folds the steals a lot, but it's just a little bit too weak. It's close. Wow, not much going on, huh? It's an interesting all-in. The 10-5 takes it. That's good. The fish doubles up. Well, I guess they're both fish. If this was an ace of spades, I would definitely limp. Or if it was king, queen, jack, 9, 10, something like that. I'm just going to stay away from the non-nut hands. I don't know. Probably a better player than me could play that properly or profitably. The monster 8887 here. Lots of unplayable hands. Yeah, it's just, if I had 3 connected cards, maybe I'd call there. Too many reverse implied odds problems there. Of course, if I knew I'm flopping trip fours, I'd probably play it. Although it's not the nut trip fours. This would be a pretty difficult spot if you get like, it's hard to check call, check call, check call in this spot and be good. It's interesting this one made it to the river. This guy had a better four the whole way. Yep. Oh boy. I guess we have to play the suited ace. Probably better to 3-bet this hand than call out of position. Just gonna bet pretty big. Like we're committing with aces or whatever. Go ahead and 3-bet the aces here. I have a 9-high straight, but it's pretty weak in this spot, I think. Or no. We flop a pair. He's gonna have some kings in his range. I think we still just have to, I guess this is a bet fold. I don't think we can call that. It's either a 3-bet or fold here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it. This guy's opening way too much. Actually, he's not that wide in the cutoff yet, but I think that's gonna normalize up in the 40 to 50% range. Maybe not, I don't know. So we had a set. Obviously, we're not going to ever fold. It's just a matter of whether we want to check raise. He's not very aggressive on the flop, so I think it's better just to pot it here and be able to check fold some bad turns. And if he has a set of queens, it's just a cooler here. Better to bet fold. This guy's been pretty aggressive on turns. Definitely going to have some flushes in his range. I think it's better to bet than check, though. I can't just check fold. He could be looking to rep something like that. So I just kind of shut him out. He just has to have a flush. And I think in 3-bet pots, people raise with a lot of flush draws anyway. So I'm not really, I mean, it's possible for sure. I'm not discounting it. It's just, that's kind of an awkward spot. I mean, I'm out of position. You know, I know I have at least 28% equity or whatever, right? I don't even know that that's a check bet fold, really, is it? know. That's something I've got to improve is those spots. Ace Jack 10 9, I would definitely 3-bet here. Opening the King King Jack 3 with a suited king. Not super strong, but it's enough, good enough to raise in the hijack. Don't flop anything except top pair. Hard to improve. We have backdoor flush, I guess. It's kind of a dry board though. I think we can bet. I don't think we have to bet. It's hard for somebody to have a set of jacks. So really, there's not much people can have on this board. You pocket sevens, I guess. This guy's a fish in the blinds. I'm going to min raise the kings, stick with that theme, try to set overset somebody, and we end up winning with the kings here, which is not surprising. It's just hard for anybody to have anything on the board. So we kind of own it. So up here we flop bottom pair and a over pair with a flush draw. I don't think it's a pile it in spot by any means. We definitely can call a turn bet, so we're going to check back. Maybe just protect here, rep a 6, get him off something. I think we just call here. We check fold now. With the king high flush, we can't go crazy with it though. Definitely can value bet. That's okay. Win the pot, that's good for a change. I've been winning very many of those middling spots. Those are the spots I definitely need to get better in, is those, I don't know, just get better at reading hands, ranges, in the middle, in the smaller pots, and learn more about stack off ranges and 3-bet pots. Need to focus on that stuff, because I seem to be the weakest and the most lost in those spots. Other than that, I just need to play ABC, I think. I think we're just running bad this session situationally, really, more than anything else. Not really anything going on here unless we turn 6. Even then, we're not thrilled about it. Tempted to try and steal this. Nobody repped the deuce yet. Definitely could get flushes to call on the turn and then full rivers. Flush draws. Don't know about the viability. Maybe three-way would be better to do that. I don't know. I don't even know that limping here is, I guess just because I'm in the pot with a fish, I think it's better to limp. That might just be a fold pre-flop there, I don't know. With no nuttiness about it. I mean, what am I looking to make Broadway? Save my half big blind, maybe. So we'll go another 15 minutes or so. Try to do some longer streams here to make up for the lack of streams lately. Let me know if you're enjoying the PLO thing. I think it'll be fun to try and do some kind of aggressive bankroll strategy like this and try to run it up. I think games run pretty high on this site, so we'll see. Pretty sure there's got to be fish at all stakes, right? We get a really powerful ace, queen, jack here with the suited ace. It's a really, really strong hand. Obviously, the aces make it strong, but we also have connectedness and a suit. A nut suit. I'd like to see a 3-bet here. Come on, Joe. 3-bet your king, king, something. So we flop a jack. Definitely betting this flop. We don't have the backdoor flush draw, but we do have an overpair and a jack, which can improve. We're definitely never folding to this player. SPR is right just to commit there, obviously, right? I think, unless I'm just way off base. Does anybody out there play PLO or interested in PLO? It's kind of like the future of poker, right? I mean, no-limit hold'em is so, unless you're in like a really off-market, really saturated with just ABC or strong players, right? It's hard to make any coin with rake nowadays. I think it's better to 3-bet this, even though it's not very smooth, not very connected. I know he just plays better versus this player. It's a pretty easy fold if you 4-bets. So we have a 10. I don't really see any point in c-betting this. It's a pretty bad turn card. I think we just try to check it down now. Ace kind of sucks, but whatever. Just gonna fold here. Yeah, I think we just have to fold. I think it would look like we have an ace here a lot, like ace king X, so it'd be pretty foolish of him to try and steal this. He's got a 10 aggression factor on the river. I'm just gonna fold. I could see him like turning ace jack into a bluff here. I mean, I guess I could have protection bet the flop or turn, or flop anyway. Right. We have a pretty good hand here. We have a couple close to nut, one close to nut suit and a nut suit. I think this is a good hand to 3-bet. Has blockers, double suited, in position. He pulls a 3-bet 41%, probably higher out of position, I would guess. So we flop a pair and over cards and a nut flush draw. We're pretty deep, but we're never folding here. Just gonna start putting money into the pot. We're just gonna stack here. That's a pretty terrible turn card. Yeah. I think we just have to check back. Yeah, pretty lousy run out for us. I mean, I'm not going to try and bluff him off a pair. And he has queens. It's a pretty brave call by him on the flop. He really didn't have anything. He put a gut shot. Pretty stinky run out for us, because any non-pair hand on the turn, we just bet he folds. So the fact that it paired eights really sucks. Really sucks. That's okay. Shite happens. What's wrong hand? So we have 57% equity on the flop. What are you gonna do? Not only do we have 57% equity, it's just like there's only like 2 turn cards, right? Let me look at that again. Just like, yeah, the only turns I'm going to hate are like an 8, maybe a 4. 8's worse than a 4. So there's only like 4 cards in the deck. I mean, a queen would have been bad, but we can't do that. I mean, we're going to stack on a queen. So. Yep. So you have like 6 cards in the deck where we lose that pot. We have a fairly strong ace, king, king, 8 with 2 nut suits. Flop the nut flush draw. We have a blocker to 8, 9, but I think it's still a check call spot. Of course, he pots it, right? He's gonna rep it. Of course, he could be doing this with like, I don't know, 9, 10 with the club draw or something like that, or 2 pair 5, 7s. We're certainly not folding the flop. Not when he could have clubs, right? So we turn the ace, which is not the least interesting card in the deck. So it looks like we could have, well, so he's just going to continue betting, huh? Thing is, he's not an aggressive player at all. So we're getting 2.3 to 1. I mean, we have a blocker to 8, 9, that's the thing. Is that blocker even relevant? Could he ever be bluffing here? I don't know. Does this just have to be a call? We just have the right price. Could it ever just check through now and we're good? He has like 9-10 with the clubs. I mean, I just don't know in PLO. I mean, it just kind of looks like we have aces or kings here, and he could just bet it well, right? So that's kind of bad. If he's a reg, he could just palm us here. I'm going to 3-bet this hand. I think it plays well post flop. Plays really well heads up. Wow. A small value bet, like he's trying to get us to call with like aces here. It almost looks like. I mean, I'm just not going to call here with one pair. It sucks. I mean, I probably just butchered that hand, right? Most of you guys will know that I just butchered that hand. So we have straight draws and flush draws here, so we're pretty deep, but I still think we have to bet here, even in a three-way. And we kind of have the wrap, right? Any jack, 8, queen, or not queen, queen? I don't even know, right? 8. Yeah, so we don't mind getting in versus this player. Wow. Holy cow, guys. Oh. Can we fold this? If this guy has queens, we're a favorite, aren't we? I didn't expect this. Wow. If he has a nut flush draw, we still have blockers and outs. I think we just have to put it in here, guys. Boy, that's going to be painful, but it's only $20. Wow, that's strange. We could be crushed here, or we could be good. I just don't know. I didn't want to see the hearts. So we chopped. Wow, I wasn't so worried about hearts there. I'd like to see my equity there. That got my blood pumping a little bit. Holy cow, that was a weird spot. That's one of those spots that I don't think come up that often. So let's check our equity on that hand. If we can see it here. Alright, so we had 30% equity on the flop. We had the worst equity of all three. We definitely still had the right enough equity to stack. Even if we knew the hands, we still had to stack there. This guy had 2 pair and the nut flush draw. The turn gave us 76% equity. So it was actually bad luck for us to chop this spot after the turn came. Wow. Or what did we do? Actually, we won the side pot, didn't we? Crap. I thought we chopped. Oh well. We didn't lose any money, let's put it that way. I'm definitely going to bet this. I thought we chopped that, but we didn't. This guy won the whole damn pot with his Luckbox River. Yeah, so that kind of sucks, but at least we didn't lose anything, right? Alright, so we hit the nut flush on a turn on a paired board. So I think we just check this back, and we can never lose more than a pot size bet. Definitely not looking just to pile it in with the flush on a paired board. I'm pretty sure I can never fold there, right, guys? Anybody know anything about PLO? I want to answer that question. This guy opens just wide enough, I think, for me to 3-bet here. So we're down about 2 buy-ins this session, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So is that a 4-bet? I keep getting 4-bet when I have an ace. That's really weird. As I say that, I'm going to 3-bet this one too. So I'm thinking about this hand. I think the double suitedness makes this a call. Oh, shit. Well, it's probably okay to fold too. That sucks. I had to sit out a hand too. Why did I have no time bank? This is a dry board and a 3-bet pot. I think I have to bet this. It just looks like I have aces and I'm not afraid of this board. That's an interesting turn. Do I just have to rep aces now, I guess? Yeah, I'm just going to rep aces and shove the river. If he somehow has 4-5 here, I guess he's got me. I just think he can't continue once the ace comes, and like on any river, pretty much I could shove profitably. I think the ace is a really good turn card for me. So I'm not sure about this one, whether I can call that 4-bet. I think it's a small enough 4-bet that I could call there. It's probably close. It's probably okay to fold that. I'm curious to run that through Pro Poker Tools or whatever that software is. Been a lot of difficult spots. It's been an interesting session. I definitely feel like I've got some things to work on, and I have a normally when I'm playing I take notes and hold a manager. I'm not doing it this time. I need to review a bunch of hands here. Normally you don't have so many tough spots in a session. At least I haven't. I've played 5-hour sessions doing this. Okay, so we're gonna play this revolution out. I guess play these 3 revolutions out and be done. We'll wait till the blind hits here. I mean, it's not the greatest session in the world, but it could have been worse, right? We're into that bone. Actually, only down about 15. Could have easily been down more. Am I getting the right price here? I'm pretty deep. I think 2.5 I can call. Pretty deep here. Flopper got shot. Not that great. This guy's pretty passive though. Maybe we see a free turn card. Nope. It's kind of funny all these passive people keep betting. I guess people are just having it this session maybe. Alright, so now we can sit out next big blind. I think we have to at least call with this hand. Yeah, I think we'll just call. Might be worth a check call on the flop. There's certainly some turn cards we can bluff there. So we have 2 pair. It's kind of irrelevant. I think we just have to check fold now. That card is much better for his range than mine. Could be drawing dead. I think we're good at showdown here often enough that we can just check. Yeah, I think he's just going to be betting with ace king, ace 10, any of those hands. Keep having to fold rivers. I'm sick of it. Is there anything worse ever betting here? I mean, I know I'm not supposed to call here, right? Pretty easy fold. In my hold'em background, I just always feel like I'm getting bluffed there. I have what I think is a decent bluff catcher. But I think in PLO he just has it. I mean, he's got aggressive, overall aggression of 25. I mean, that's just so passive. I just think we're running into top of ranges a lot here. Tends to happen. This could be one of those spots where I check back and try to realize some equity. Don't really want to get. I definitely have equity here. Any jack, diamond, diamond, possibly a deuce, or any two pair here would improve me. So I think I can check back and raise a lot of turns. It's not the worst turn in the world if he checks. I can definitely bet rep the 10. Thinking about this one, does he have a 10? He must have a 10 or he wouldn't be thinking this long. Unless he has like a wrap or something. Doesn't know whether he can call or not. Meanwhile, this guy opened wide enough for me to 3-bet this. I think I can 3-bet this on the button. Okay. I get to see what he had. Wow, pocket fours took it. Ugh, gross. All he had was a heart draw on a paired board. That was pretty terrible. We're gonna have to bet the 10 high board. I bet pretty big because I don't want to get floated. Some marginal float. We have some backdoor possibilities. We can check back some turns if we improve. I'd rather just take it down right on the flop though. This session's almost in the books. Not the greatest PLO session of all time. We're still alive in the challenge here, trying to move up in stakes. Only 5 buy-ins away from taking a quick shot at 25 NL, PLO I mean. This would be an okay hand, say the cutoff, maybe the hijack. I think it's not a great hand for the under the gun. I think that might do it. Maybe have one more hand here. Oh, sorry about that. Still got a little chest congestion I'm trying to work my way through. Been a lot of colds in the last year. It was a pretty bad year for them, I think. Last hand, do we get to play it? Tempting. Fish in the blinds. I'm going to do it. It's the last hand. It's probably minus EV. Can't be too bad, though. It's a suited ace. 10-4-3. We're only down about, I don't know, 15 for the session. We got a little bit of rake back in. Down 18 overall and 15. Basically been break even for the past, I don't know, 2 hours. I mean, first 30 minutes kind of killed us. I think we just bet. If nobody has a king, they just all fold. It's unlikely. I think it's a profitable bet. It's going to be hard for any kind of flush draw to continue. So either they have a king or they don't, or pocket sixes. Yeah, this doesn't necessarily have to be a king. It's what I call a BS raise. Unless he's got king 6 somehow, it's just quads. It's like a BS raise. I already made that move once on him. I'm not going to do it again. So we can't win the last one. That's okay. So we'll call it a session. Yeah, so that was definitely fun. It was a roller coaster, but it was fun. So we officially end at a 203.59 balance, still in the running. Over 20 buy-ins for 10-0. Got a little more experience under our belt. Not the greatest session in the world. I mean, we're down 18 or 19 in both EV and actual money. But, I mean, we didn't get a whole bunch of good spots. We didn't flop particularly well the whole session. Kind of got played back out a lot in spots we normally don't. So that shit's going to happen, you know. Yeah, so we're basically break even from like the first couple hundred hands, which is fine. My overall graph now was kind of funny. I mean, it's typical though. I mean, it'll just blend in. I mean, I've had similar runs. This one's kind of excessive though. Yeah. It says EV. Oh, that's this week. Okay. Since I've basically been playing PLO though, I'm still basically 16 big blinds per 100, even after all that fiasco. I was 19 before this session, so overall I'm happy with these stats so far. Hopefully we can continue with a trend up and not be this roller coaster crap next time. So yeah, so that was fun. We'll definitely keep doing this as long as people are interested in seeing it. If you're not, just let me know. So we had some interest during the session. We had a few people watching. So I'll definitely, for you people watching on YouTube, thanks for sticking it out. I mean, I know this is a long upload, so if you made it through, congratulations. But there was some fun stuff. It's almost a video I should do highlights on, right? I just don't have the time to go through and do highlights, but I would do that. Anybody want to do that? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next time.